All right, welcome to Raising Funds for World Domination, Day 59. So we got a couple early chatters here. Sam sends a wave, number 1. Christopher says hello. Rick Brown, James says hello. So these are the standard intro updates. Haven't updated that in a while because there's been no updates. Other than that, I have been, for the last while, diligently working on trying to get the next release prepared for the block mining simulation game, so I can stop working on that and move my focus to other things. Actually, I made one change today to change the text color. It's a little bit harder to read. I like the theme of like green text on dark background, but at least on Ubuntu with the GNOME terminal, the default colors are the default black is kind of gray, which is this color, and then the text color is not super green, so it's not the best contrast, but it's I guess if you try it in any other platform, it'll be whatever the standard ANSI colors are, because this is that's like value 40 background color, and that one's I don't know, 30 or something. Kevin Coolin says, "What's up? Not too much. Getting close to finishing the next version of the terminal block mining game." So tonight, today, I did. I actually I think I finished all of the bug fixing. So there's just a few things that I broke over time. And I tested it out tested it with in Tmux and Screen, and there was a couple issues I was working on there. There's an older version of Tmux where it doesn't quite work. And I thought I had that working before, but I think there's some other, I think I have to do some other, maybe I'm thinking about maybe having an option to just like specify a standard, like to guess a width that's like a worst case scenario for the character widths, because that's what all the bugs mostly are related to, is the fact that some of these characters, like the rock characters, takes up 2 spaces, but then in some terminals, when you try to measure the width of it, it returns the value of 1 when it's in fact actually 2, so it causes all kinds of rendering problems. And as you can imagine, that in order to make the UI nice and smooth, I have to calculate differences. So when I move across the screen, it tries to be smart, and it only updates changes around the boundaries here. But if the width calculations are wrong, then it just looks like garbage, and it duplicates the blocks and stuff. No pressure. You got my respect. I love this stress-free environment. Excellent. How's Renoviction going? The current status of the Renoviction is, so the first L2 merits hearing was May 26th. So there were approximately half of the tenants in the building. So the original cohort was, I think, like 68 tenants got the N13, and then about half of those were at the L2 merits hearing back on May 26th. The conclusion from that was, as on a preliminary issue, about half of the N13s were rejected by the board on the grounds that they did not properly serve compensation checks, which is they have to serve you with compensation before they go through with the eviction process, or before they're legally allowed to get the eviction order. And they they were not able to prove that they actually handed out the checks to everyone. So on that technicality, those N13s got rejected. I'm not among that group of people because I did get my check. I haven't cashed it, and so we have another hearing, L2 merits hearing. At the last one, we were about to call an additional witness. We had some witnesses that talked about that testified as to the necessity of actually doing the proposed renovations and whether they need to tear all the plumbing out. Some people testified. We were about to call another witness, and then we ran out of time. So then they said we're going to have another hearing. And at the next hearing, we're going to continue arguing on Section 73 merits of the RTA, and then if we still haven't won, then I think there could even be like a fifth hearing date where we would do those Section 83 arguments. So we'll see. Hopefully the last hearing is the last one, because that'll even with just one more hearing. So and as of today, we don't have a hearing date. We're just waiting for the tenant board to schedule something. Being productive, cooking up a new vid? No, I have not worked at all on new videos. And I even have taxes to do. I have not worked on my taxes at all. I've been working, I had been doing a bit of taxes and a bit of work in this game, and then also streaming. And then in the last few days, I switched completely to working on finishing this game so I can get the next release out, and then I can stop thinking about it. Because once I stop thinking about it, it's going to get, I'll forget what I was working on. And, but I think, I'd say as of today, I finished a bunch of optimizations. So there were a few kind of legacy. I completely changed how the map works, and there were a few optimizations that were just sitting there. Like I hooked up the profiler for the first time in a while, and I just tested to see like where is all the execution type going. So I rewrote a couple of functions, and there were a few cases where I think I was calling basically print the map area updates twice, so it was printing it twice, which is wasting CPU cycles. And I changed it to use string builder instead of doing system.print every single time, and just a couple of other optimizations. So I think I'm all done for features, bugs, and optimizations. It's working. I think it's working pretty good now. So for tonight, I'll just do like basically play testing, I guess. And I'm really happy about where it is now with the fact that you can see the layer below you. I think that actually that's a killer feature. The fact that you can see a little bit more of the terrain. And you can hunt for minerals now. Nice indeed. Yeah, I think most people who've know that I'm working on this, they see it and they think about it in the back of their mind. It's interesting. It makes it interesting to see progress over time. So I'll publish this, get some new screenshots. I guess tonight I can update the README a little bit. Earlier today I was talking about old school machinery, modern machinery about agriculture. Just like in a random conversation, or because if America faces some kind of outages like solar flares or nationwide attack, there could be old school technology, modern technology inbound. Yeah, it's certainly a good time to have gardening skills. Yeah, I guess I don't know, that whole attack on Iran's bunkers. I guess the question is like, what will happen? Will they just be like, oh, okay, we're okay with you can just bomb our bunkers, no big deal, and then nothing will happen? I guess that could be the case. Look at it good now. Need to download and try this out soon. Yeah, I'm thinking about tonight. I'm just gonna do some playtesting, and then maybe even tomorrow I'll package it up and do a release if I don't discover any really annoying bugs that break everything. I guess I do have something weird going on with why is the text all, it's trying to wrap around, but oh, that's a problem. Can you make a house with the Mayan materials? Technically, you could. I'll show you in a sec. I'll see if I can fix this bug. Well, that makes sense. Get offline manuals on how to grow food and fix things. Yep, always handy just in case. I mean, I guess the geopolitical calculus is I think if anyone was going to try something, it would probably be China, because I think Iran does not. They're probably not happy about everything that happened, but they probably don't have the capability to do anything. I think the bigger risk is like smaller scale, like acts of rebellion. Like Iran is a population of 90 million people. There's probably a lot of people in it, like every other country in the world, who are sympathetic to something going on in Iran. I think that stuff probably won't impact supply chains or anything, but it could have someone, like, I don't know, blows up a train or something somewhere. As long as China's not planning something. That takes books and simple knowledge. Got those. Old school machinery. Yeah, sometimes the old stuff will do the trick. And then the newer stuff is all garbage. It's all full of computers. The computers are always broken. They run some version of Windows XP. There's no drivers for it anymore. Let's see if I can break that again. Some of it is Amish. Yeah, I mean, for being, in one sense, you could call their stuff primitive, but they really have it figured out when it comes to actually building housing and cooperating. And I mean, the rest of the world can't build housing if their life's dependent on it. Silly me. My comments are too naughty for YouTube? Yeah. You're not allowed to talk about the impending World War III here, according to YouTube. My whole family built churches. Baptist Church, I don't like the game. The old small churches though, but they're old. Do you think I can print on my 15-year-old single function Canon laser printer from a Raspberry Pi to make it wireless? You might be able to. I would say Linux with old printers is, works pretty good. Although actually I have a printer that's about that age. And the newest version of Ubuntu doesn't work with my printer, or at least with the scanner part of it. So I actually have another old laptop. When I want to scan stuff, I have to scan it from the other laptop. Don't like the frame. I mean of the buildings. First Coast Dirty South Rail fans. Is what's going on? We're just testing. I'm doing some tests of the block mining simulation game. I'm planning to hopefully do a new release of what I have so far. Maybe within the next couple days. Oh, there we go. Excellent. Now, for some reason, that shouldn't be trying to text wrap here. WSG, bro. WSG. Probably what's going on? Not too much. We're just working on fixing a couple of bugs in the block mining simulation game. My point was it's too expensive to repeat previous mistakes. The interest spending is bigger than they spend on force. And our southern friends who decide to block exports and trade routes. Yeah, it's I mean, it's hard. It's hard to figure out what's going to happen in the future. Western countries are not doing great, but then a lot of other countries are also similarly not doing great. So it's hard to figure out like how much there is going on beneath the surface. The United States did a thing the other day. Yep, that's a true statement. Don't talk about what it is, otherwise YouTube will censor your comments. The title is crazy, bro. Pulling hella viewers. It's pulling a few viewers. It's about my regular. It's usually between. Actually, it's been trending down recently. Used to be between like 20 and 40, but I guess we're it's maybe 20, 30 or so. They've been doing things all week. Parliament in Iran voted to shut down Hormuz. Looking forward to doubled fuel prices and energy bills. Yeah, I mean that I presume they're fairly impaired at the moment, so their capacity to really do much. Like a few days ago, I watched some of the updates, and they said that Israel has air supremacy over Iran, so they can fly jets over almost totally unimpaired. So that kind of puts them in a position of extreme strength. It's been a bomb few days. Yes, that is an accurate description of the last few days. Should I make a calzone for dinner? If you feel like it. Okay, padding left, padding right. That's probably what my issue is. Eat better. Calzone could be good for you, depending on what's in it. If you need to use it inherently, you lost an argument. Not inherently. Was not doing great is Skynet. I'm sure Skynet's doing well these days. Comments keep getting censored. Should not believe propaganda like that. You're more than capable. Who specifically? Oil stocks up. Not surprising. It's been better than the sun here in Michigan. The past few days, it's currently 89 degrees in my upstairs. Yeah, it's we have a heat wave here. Oil company stock or oil commodity futures. Probably all up. Ka Hoang says, "Hi bro, how's it going? Never wanted Skynet, but who'll watch over us?" I'm trying hard to respond to you, but I'm clearly not allowed. Nice. That should mean you'll have to be more crafty. The way you communicate so that Skynet doesn't understand what you're saying. why doesn't my... You're talking about a specific country? I didn't even use the names of countries. Still getting censored. My point is, don't believe everything you hear. Look up for yourself. You'll find the truth. Yeah. Even like it's being widely reported, even apparently when they sent those bombers, they sent some decoys. They sent just for the purpose of that mission, they sent a bunch of like super obvious ones. There were like people were tracking them on social media and stuff, and those were it was all a ruse. Just joined. What does this guy mean by world domination? So the plan is to start a brand new country because there's no housing down here. So we're gonna go up to an uninhabited island in northern Canada called Axel Heiberg. It's a giant island that's bigger than some countries. Nobody lives on it. We're going to start a brand new country, and we're going to build housing. And from there, we'll start the world domination plans. We'll get some investment from a private equity firm. Well, that's it a little bit better. Yeah, and then from there, we'll just start buying up countries. We'll restructure the debt, then declare bankruptcy. We'll just keep doing that until we buy up all the countries in the world. I'm so curious. You're always on my YT feed. I always come and see the vids, but I never know what they're about. Currently, I've been working daily on my terminal-based Blockcommending game, which you can see here. It's a terminal-based video game where you wander around an infinite procedurally generated universe. You spam the M key to mine blocks. And I talk about this and software development, and that's basically it. Back in the day, I played against some folks who used the Zerg Overlord as decoys for defensive terrain missiles. Interesting. I'm not familiar with the lore behind that. If that's a video game or just for the fact that we're discussing Skynet. More likely Skynet's not going to happen. We're preventing that right now. Maybe. Or maybe Skynet is listening. Yeah, that's what Skynet wants us to think. The only way to defeat Skynet is to make sure there is no order of power. Maybe. Take me with you. Yep, once I get I'm just hoping to get someone to send me a super chat for $12 billion. And then once I have that, then I can start work on a deep water port. And then we can start shipping supplies up and build some houses. There isn't nuclear proliferation there yet, so the United States will probably support us. Yeah, we don't need nukes. Instead of we'll just be like a friendly country. Nobody will have to bomb us. People send us flowers. Skynet, an AI is multiple of brains that connects within its own understanding of mathematical. I don't know, that sounds a little bit like nonsense. Minecraft, demake. I get the Minecraft, but demake. I don't know what. I've never heard that term before. StarCraft? Okay, never played that. Or I think I might have played it once or twice a long time ago, but. Oh, this rendering is killing me. Holographic Minecraft. I guess. Oh, a remake? Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. Are you still going to Waterloo for reading week at 7 p.m.? I did that for the last one. I had no idea if anyone would show up. There was about 20 people that came. I don't know. We'll see. I'll. I mean, I go in the U Waterloo subreddit sometimes, and there's always like 10 people there who are like, "Hey, everyone, I'm so lonely. Don't know what to do. Hard meeting people." And there's like 5 posts like that. I'm like, why doesn't one of these people just make a meetup, and then all these people who are on the subreddit can go there? So I figured if people just need like a standard, so maybe there'll be a couple people will go to that, and if not, then whatever. Because it said to eternity. Yeah, I figured if I could start a tradition, because that's around the time when it's particularly cold and I guess more people than I thought leave for reading week. I always stayed for reading week, but I think it's another big issue with students there is it's hard to everyone's busy all the time, so people want to go events, but they can't go to events because if the event happens exactly when they're available, then they can go, but we'll see. It's maybe some other random people will 10 years from now will go there and meet up. I don't get how this is this is so much work to debug. I probably have bugs in my line printing function somewhere. What would happen if I just made that 20? That would make way too much sense. How would they make time for Reddit? I guess the difficulty with when you're in school is you have free time sometimes, but not all the time. And then when you have free time, everyone's busy. I'm pretty broke, though, but I'll be there. It's the thought that counts. 4 comments in a row. Someone is upset with me today. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's sometimes maybe other chatting history. I don't know how the algorithm works. I'll solve problems beyond human composition and then use that against us. AI will solve problems beyond human comprehension? Yeah, it might use it against us. I think it's more than likely. I think more than likely a person will use AI to solve problems that are beyond the comprehension of most people. All right, looks like I might have to spin up the debugger. Your account is definitely under attack. Well, I got a couple of your messages, so there's something getting through. Interesting. So I know you're getting censored about something, but I have no idea what it's about. So the censoring was successful. Hasbara? Not sure what that is. Now I may have recently broken this in the terminal. There was some other weird bug that I fixed that only appeared in this when you run the game in this console. Well, looks like there's that. I fixed this bug before, but now it's back. Looks like I'll have to make it super robust, I'll have to have even more. I forget exactly what caused that. It's a group that does not like me. I'm asked to report my accounts. Could be why I'm having issues talking about certain topics. What kind of group is it? Democracy of Israel includes mass communications and individual interaction with foreign nationals. Interesting. Never heard of it. Honestly, there's too much cultural emphasis recently on like stuff going on in other countries. We have so many domestic problems that we really need to invest more effort into fixing those. Every time you turn on the news, it's like stuff that's not happening in Canada. I've recently found it's actually really difficult to get news about. When I try to look up like local news, it's always like something random about there'll be like a couple pieces of local news, but then other things are like viral videos, are like the most recent video of a cat doing something, or just like this, if you just pick what's trending on YouTube, they just like play that in the news. not agree more. Our leaders want to play world police and gamble with our lives. Yep, that's the world we live in. Now to test this, I have to actually mine some blocks on the local machine, which is slow. So I'm gonna fill up my inventory. That's crazy. Continue. You mean about like news? Like I've started looking up like Kitchener news, and then I'll see something about there'll be like one minor thing. I'll be like, police are looking for like a stolen bike, and then there'll be something about like the headline thing will be some major thing happened in like a rural area that's neighboring like the Waterloo region. It'll be like something happened in Guelph today, but it'll not, usually it doesn't have anything local, and the local stuff is kind of further down. And if you go down even further, it'll just have like, it just devolves into world news, and so global world news, and like extremely high click-through stuff. So like if you just go to the YouTube homepage and then look at what's like trending, so it's like the people who work at the news are like, hey, I don't really want to work today, let's just take the latest TikTok trend and talk about that. I want solar, big solar, like 1 kilowatt or more. I'm taking 3 400 watt panels, purchasing them one at a time. I've done some armchair research on solar stuff, and I guess it depends what you want to do with it. But the punchline of doing solar is that the actual solar panels are basically 1/10 the cost of a solar system. So if you want to minimize cost, you have to think really hard and possibly compromise and kind of penny pinch on everything that supports the solar system. So things like if you just want to take like a simple like 100 watt panel that you can get from Walmart for, I don't know how much those are, probably like $100 or something. And like a lot of what you're paying for is not actually the solar panels, it's like the aluminum backing for it and the frame and like something to hold it off the ground, and the wires, and like connectors. And once you have that, so you can get that for on the order of $100. Now you can hook it to stuff, but if it's just like DC, simple DC, it's like unfiltered, unregulated. If you just want to like turn on a light bulb, and you're okay with the light bulb only being on when the sun's around, and you have like no filtering, no charge controllers or anything, you could get away with something really cheap. But then as soon as you want to go like take the DC and then convert it to AC. Now you need like an inverter. And then the other thing is, most solar systems, if you want it to be like the simplest solar system that's like, connected to your house and stuff, is going to be grid tied. So the actual the inversion from DC to AC, you need a sine wave, and the frequency of the sine wave has to match the power grid. So you only can have solar while the power grid is active. But then technically, if you really want it, if you want to be grid independent, you can like put on like a disconnect. So you can have a failover disconnection from your actual, like the mains power, the power company. You can physically disconnect, and that'll allow you to be independent. But then you need the capacity and the storage, and I learned all that with a 30-watt panel. I have batteries to charge, at least DC systems to power. Mostly use USB-C, which the batteries provide, as well as AC. I need something quiet because in an emergency right now, I have to run a gas generator. Grid following and grid forming inverters are actually a big problem for our grid at scale, because we're bad at real-time metrics. I want to do GPS to do timing to measure phase latency in neighborhoods with large amounts of grid forming solar. Yeah, it sounds like you're well on your journey to learning about solar. You're even further ahead, even more than I do. Okay, I have enough items in the inventory. Now the point of this exercise actually, I'm working on different code, so I can't even test what I'm working on. The battery is the expensive part. Panel's cheap, especially secondhand. If you live near water, you can look at hydro. Solar furnace with a steam-powered generation, another option. I would assume the stuff like the inverters and charge controllers would also be quite expensive. I haven't actually priced out a system, but I'm really interested in portable hydro because I live next to a big river with a big bridge. It's dammed, so it practically always has water flowing. You could just build your own hydroelectric dam. There's a YouTube video series of someone who built their own like hydropower system from this. They set up like a pipe with like a 100-foot height differential, and they were generating power from it. Camping batteries are my hack for this problem. You can pair them with other batteries through the solar charge DC outputs. Inverters and other equipment's not that expensive. You can get them secondhand. Energy storage is the expensive bit. Okay, saw one of those small scale dams. Guy and his dogs walked over it. I used to do that a bunch as a kid, make the little like dams near this little brook where I lived. Okay, I wanted to debug this, but this is running on a different machine. I should like port forward and stuff. I'll do that later. Man, it's getting warm. I know we had a heat warning this morning, and it didn't feel that warm, but this building takes a couple days to warm up. Tomorrow it's going to be even worse. Just getting materials alone, it's pretty good. Yeah, I guess depending on what you're doing, it could be an expensive hobby. But if we get enough of it, it can actually be, save you money in the long run. All right, let's just try. Let's see. Seen some people build up pressure in narrow pipes from high elevations. Then jet stream on generator, so even flow is slow. They get jet powered electricity. Yeah, I think that's the main thing you have to go for with if you want to do hydropower. It's like difference in elevation. As opposed to not necessarily like the momentum of the water, but let's see if this will crash. right, here's the ASCII version. Coming together nicely. You mean the game? Yeah, it doesn't crash. It's pretty. I'm really happy about. There's a lot of these really annoying user interface features, like the fact that I can resize the window and it resizes. I'm really happy about that. I burn my mouth. I gotta let your food cool down. All right. Remember you struggling with the sizing? Yeah, honestly, it is. It's a very difficult problem to solve, to have like a multi-threaded application where multiple threads are trying to write to the console at once and resize themselves. There's like a ton of stuff involved in making that work. There was a bunch of weird chance events too that were making it crash. I had trouble reproducing them at first. When I was doing this, sometimes it would crash. And I couldn't figure out why. And it was because when I write a new character, so in order to get the character widths correct, I have to measure how wide every character is. And I have this kind of elaborate system where I write a test character up in the corner, and then I empirically measure it using a cursor position request. And when it writes to this part of the screen, I have to invalidate that part so that the writer thread writes it back afterward. And I was just using a hard-coded value to invalidate like a few characters up here. And when there were cases where if I size the window like this, if I size it small enough, now there was the array was out of bounds because it was trying to invalidate a really small region. And that was causing crash. So it only happened when it was trying to measure a character at that same time. Oh, that's a bug. Interesting. Just joined. What are we doing? I'm working on looking for bugs in a terminal-based video game where you simulate the process of mining blocks. Food should list their R index so that we know for certain they're likely to be hiding hot lava inside. Yeah, pizza pockets. should. Robert, if you scream from the top of your lungs, message retracted. Found a new bug while showing how you fixed a bug. Yep, that's how it goes. Except for the empty frame, that's kind of not surprising. The empty frame. I think it's not surprised that the empty frame has a bug. But strangely, so the map areas were drawing itself. Oh no, the map area's got a problem. Man, that's been such a source of bugs. This like level, this overlay feature. Does this have Z indexing? It's trying to have Z indexing. I wrote it with like this like a layer separated thing. So it's got like an array of layers, but the array it only has 2 layers, and the only thing that's in the second layer is the help menu right now. And there's still a whole bunch of design flaws in it, and I just kind of I could spend even more time refactoring it, but I'd like to just get something, you know, cobbled together and shipped. think I may know why that happens. I is retired. I have no clue what's happening. Currently I'm testing bugs. So you can see this here is still on the screen. It's not supposed to be there. And I think it's a bug that maybe happens only when the dimensions of the frame have not changed, because that's also a special case. So if I do this, my prediction is this, the right half of the menu will stay here. Yep. That might be the issue. Well, let me try to reproduce that again. How long did this take you? Quite a while. I've been spending quite a bit of work on this. For the last, well, I'm right now on day 59. I've been working on this every day for 59 days. There's actually quite a bit of work I did on it before that, but most of that is like some of the networking stuff. Let's see. Yeah, the last 59 days have been mostly the like this user interface stuff. So today, what we'll do is now here's my prediction. I'm gonna close this frame, and I predict this part of the menu will be removed, but this menu will remain on the rest of them. Let's see if my prediction is correct. Yes, that's exactly what happened. And it's because these are getting an update event, but the frame dimensions are not changing. And if I do that again, if I go to the center one, go close this one, then I'll see a menu on this here and over here, and in the center it'll be refreshed. Yep. So that is the root cause. It's when deactivating the menu, if the dimensions of a frame don't change, then it's not sending the right refresh event. Very impressive. Excellent. I'm planning to do a release soon. Wonder where the frames are coming from. Does it happen when you pull it down to the smallest window size? I'm pretty sure what's happening is I'll have to look at the code to remember exactly how there's getting like the frame resize events. So I decided to actually consolidate all of the like on frame change events into one event, and then within the user interface frame, I'm gonna just kind of I'm gonna try and just have one type of event. It's like something changed, and then within that detect what subset of things changed, and handle that accordingly. 'Cause sometimes the it can just be like an event that says like repaint yourself, but the dimensions of the terminal, or dimensions of there's multiple events. You can have the terminal changed, the terminal size changed. Well, you can have a terminal size change event even when the terminal size doesn't change, which makes it it's like you have to debounce that basically. And then you can also have the frame, the size of the frame can change. So right now, I was closing frames within the terminal. I'm not resizing it, but the frame, I was resizing it within my application. So I have to handle that event. And then also as I tab through it, the frame size is not changing, but I'm using tab to select the frame. So now I have to re-render the frame. And then also I guess I could, in the future I could have something so that when you have a frame active, it'll, be doing some animation or something. And of course it all has to be multi-threaded. So it can be calculating and responding to these changes and trying to print them, and then the prints can fail. So I have to detect that the print has failed and correctly retry. So here's where some of that crazy logic ended up being. So if it tries to print and then fails, or if it succeeds, then it saves the last set of parameters to detect the difference. You pull it down the smallest window size, you could see text instead of a frame, the frame disappearing. What if we're trying to write, it creates multiple frames in the process. I have noticed that sometimes it seems to display like what's behind in the terminal. I'm not 100% sure why that is, but I'm pretty sure this is something to do with the background not deactivating right. Cool Music says, "Hi people, hi Sam, hi Robert, how's it going?" So as a test, let's do this. Now, what I predict, this is going to break the map area. So the map area is very intensive, so that's why I'm doing some of this, like, all of this difference calculation stuff. So I bet this will, moving that up there will make the problem go away, but it'll also introduce a new bug with the map area. Why do you need to detect a failed print when the next print will clean it up? That's a good question, because in order to the printing tries to be intelligent and print as few things to the terminal as possible. So during normal printing, so I don't necessarily know in advance which prints are going to succeed and fail. And the terminal is being constantly updated. So like as I move around, there's like stuff loading, and there's I guess you can't see it, it's too far away, but there's stuff updating. There's like new chunks updating on the screen, so it doesn't, when it actually loads a chunk, it doesn't update the entire terminal area. It tries to just intelligently print to that subset of the area. Otherwise, the lag is just really bad. Okay, let's do this. All right, that resolved the issue, but so now if I close this, one of the issues one of the things I wanted to avoid is if you do stuff in other frames over here, that it does not, it doesn't change this one. So I'm gonna close this frame, and then I think that's gonna jump around. Nope, that didn't happen. But I guess it did. Yeah, I guess I'll have to dig into it more. Yeah, the key is about detecting, just printing as few things as possible. And when you're doing like difference-based printing, and trying to like be intelligent to calculate what needs to change and what doesn't need to change. If one of the prints fails, now you're like basically missing the sequence. It's like if you have incremental updates or something. It's a difference between like cloning the repo and taking a series of diffs on a repo. If you lose one of the diffs, then you're losing some information. That's interesting. I have this whole fancy way of like merging the layers together, and it's very error prone. Yeah, to make it faster, I tried to make it more intelligent, where it like selects. It tries to keep track of like the active regions of the screen that have been updated, and it's got some bugs in it and stuff. Now I could refactor it all and make it more robust and have unit tests and stuff, but again, that's a whole much more time. I might just ship this version with the bug. It's close enough for now. So I guess really what I really want is, instead of has this frame's dimensions changed, I want to know, has any frame's dimensions changed? Because in every other circumstance I've demoed, I guess with the default version, I don't really have that case doesn't appear very much, because every time you close a frame, you know what, I might just ship it with this bug, because it doesn't really happen often. Remember how slow it was before? It's already a massive improvement. Yeah, I did. Actually, it's been slow a couple times. I did improve it, and then in doing all this like frame-based stuff, when I refactored that kind of reintroduced the slowness. And it was even just today, as I've been refactoring it, there's been a whole bunch of like duplicate calls and things where it was like it would reinitialize like an entire region when it only needed to initialize, like reload the blocks at the top. Should not worry about a tiny bug like this. How many terminal-based games are there? Yeah, it's I mean, for our first impression, I'd like to just not have like some random crashes, stuff like that. If it, you know, if it has like a really, like it's already hard to understand what you're looking at with the terminal game, and if the UI is broken, you'll wonder like that other person had asked, like, what am I even looking at? But I gotta ship things, and I think it's probably all right for now. I might actually make a, you know, if I get time for it, might make a separate an actual set of unit tests, because a lot of the bugs are inherently in the like layer activation and deactivation and merging and stuff. Let's see, so that happens in bugs, undocumented fixes. Extra day one DLC. What's a DLC? I actually don't even play mini games. I know, and a lot of games, modern games now, are full of bugs. That's the whole business model: ship something that's garbage and doesn't work, and then have microtransactions. Downloadable content. Okay. Let me think. So menu activation and deactivation works. Might even be just something I can might be something in the help menu I can do. The way it works right now is pretty fragile. I have like all these like render and then finalize frame. And if I have this in the wrong place, like if I call this twice, that'll cause a bunch of bugs. And I think I had some exceptions too if I call it twice in a couple places. So it's very, very haphazard. You know what, maybe if I do this, that might fix the bug. I had that before, but I removed it. I'm back. What's your most controversial opinion? I don't have any controversial opinions. All of my opinions are unanimously agreed upon by everyone. Nice. Ah. So close. There's an old online game called Tibia, built in Java. They solved this kind of issue by forcing everyone to play in the same resolution. Screen resolution only affected menus and progress bars. I could do that, but it's always nice if the UI just works really nicely. I thought I fixed it, but I did not. Are you working on a previous repo? No, this is basically the latest. Interesting. So it doesn't immediately cause the bug, but then when I bring the help menu back, it's persistently there. How does window size work? What kind of floating point numbers to indicate X and Y? Yeah, every flame. So everything is splits. So I just have the UI starts at like a root node, and then the root node is either a leaf node, it's an H split, or a V split, and every H and V split, and a leaf node contains a frame, an H node or horizontal split or a vertical split contains a list of splits of any type. And with that, you can basically make any kind of combination of H and V splits. Downloadable legitimate identity character. Oh, you're referencing that acronym. What is Lilny doing? I don't know. I wonder if I just did something crazy like this. This might trigger a different, it'll like negate the bug. That probably won't work, but let's see what it does. Did you think this game might attract too many elite devs to the Domination, and then Canada might feel threatened? It could. Thanks for the answer. I'm clearly still a noob. No worries. There's takes time to learn stuff, and especially when it's your own. When it's easy to understand and comment on your own code. Neat. So that's the result. That's other interesting behavior. So set it to false. What if I set it to false twice? Is he making Minecraft as a terminal-based mining game? It's going to be better than Minecraft. More like Grand Theft Mining. We can have that too. And it holds most of the world's fractional calzone reserve trading. I'm not sure if that's true. Now, it doesn't appear immediately, but if I do escape, and then escape again, now we get the bug. Interesting. And it only appears on the frames that did not resize. Thought it was Minecraft at first, at day 10. This Minecraft has no hardware limitations. Yeah, it is. You can play it on a VT 100. I'm so good I know how to do print. That's a good start. That's all you need to get started. Now, what if I do this? Will this make the bug go away? Yes, that makes the bug go away. But the problem is, I don't want to do that. Because that introduces another bug, which is so I only want to do this. I wanted to have special behavior for the map area. Have to start somewhere. I think most of us started with printf hello world. Yep, if you could just find an application, start tinkering, start putting debug statements in it and tweaking the code until you understand it. So yeah, I guess if I just initialize if I reinitialize all of the buffers, then it sends the updates. Which I guess that makes sense. But the map area still has that because it has it tries to be smarter and do less updates. Interesting. The artist formerly known as, they canceled him. Oh, look up H. Vanderbilt Alexander. PhD lawsuits approach to get after it. I have no idea what you're talking about, but thank you for that information. When I figured out I can use simple print statements to find bugs, I was ecstatic. Yeah, one of my professors said something that I always remembered that really resonated with me. He said, when you're a noob and you don't know how to program, you do printf statements for debugging, and then when you become more professional and actually learn how to program, you use a debugger. But then when you become even more advanced, then you go back to using printf statements. And I find it depends on what I'm working on, but sometimes printf statements do make sense. Recently I found with using a debugger, often I'll even write a condition like to inspect something at a specific pixel or something. I'll put like an if statement in a for loop and then put a printf and then breakpoint on the printf. Well, I made a bit of progress tonight. Caught a couple of bugs. I think I root caused that UI bug. I'll have to think about what's a decent way to resolve that. Anyway, I'll probably leave it there for tonight and conclude and consider this another successful stream. So I guess we'll be back tomorrow. All right. Talk to you later, guys.